I still remember the tone of her voice that night, soft, almost teasing. "I just need some space," she said. "I want to date around. Have fun. But don't you dare move on. I might come back." Her words cut like a blade hidden behind a smile. She expected me to wait like some loyal pet chained to her doorstep, wagging its tail as she disappeared with strangers, hoping she'd one day return. I didn't protest. I only nodded. And in that silence, I discovered my first weapon. We'd been married 3 years. She came from money. I didn't. What I brought was loyalty, patience, the kind of steady love she once swore she craved. What she gave was wealth, influence, and doors that opened just because of her last name. I loved her before any of that mattered. I thought she loved me, too. But money corrodes in its own way. It creates entitlement, an endless craving for something new. She didn't want a partner. She wanted variety, options. I had noticed the signs long before her little confession. The late nights, the secretive grins at her phone, the faint smell of a man's cologne that wasn't mine. I already knew betrayal had crept in, so when she finally spoke, I didn't feel heartbreak or fury. I felt clarity. I gave her nothing of what she wanted. No begging, no tears, no fight. She expected a performance to prove her control. Instead, I gave her silence. Cold, calculating silence. While she laughed with her friends, I watched. While she partied, I prepared. First, I secured myself. She had always been careless with money, joint accounts, impulsive transfers, reckless spending. She assumed I never noticed because I wasn't born into her world of wealth. She underestimated me. I quietly hired a lawyer who specialized in divorces with fortunes at stake. Together, we uncovered her hidden accounts, her family's trusts, the loopholes in the prenup she thought would protect her. She believed she was the clever one. She wasn't. Then I cut every tie she thought bound me to her. I moved assets she never knew I controlled. I severed connections she believed she held authority over. Piece by piece, I built my fortress while she danced away the nights. And finally, my sharpest move, I prepared my exit. The night she told me I could be her safety net, she unknowingly handed me the knife to cut her off for good. By the next morning, before her coffee even cooled, I had blocked her everywhere. Phone, email, social media. Gone. Even her family couldn't reach me. I erased myself with surgical precision. At first, she didn't notice. Why would she? She was too busy sampling her new playground of choices. But eventually, the truth settled in. Choices don't love you. Choices don't endure your moods. Choices don't stay. When the glow dimmed, she looked for the safety net that had always caught her before. But it wasn't there anymore. The silence that once felt soothing turned into something sharp, something suffocating. At first, her panic arrived in small waves. A mutual friend passed along a message. Then another followed. "Why aren't you answering her?" they asked. I only smiled. The messages escalated into desperate gestures. She showed up at my old apartment, not knowing I had already left. She called my old job only to learn I had already moved on. She even reached out to my lawyer, who by design gave her nothing. Every attempt she made to tug at the leash she believed was still around my neck ended with her clutching empty air. The day it all collided was gray and wet. I was stepping out of a meeting when I saw her, soaked through, trembling, mascara streaking her cheeks like ink bleeding across ruined paper. "You blocked me," she hissed, her voice brittle, breaking between fury and fear. "Yes," I replied, nothing more. That stunned her. She was used to explanations, endless patience, the kind of love that bent itself to her storms. But not this. Not a wall. Not silence. "You can't just leave. You can't." "I can," I said, "and I already have." I stood there and watched as she broke in front of me. She tried to invoke nostalgia, to summon the ghost of the love we once shared. She played the part of the abandoned wife, pleading for understanding, for more time. But it rang hollow, because the truth had already been etched. In the silence between us, she hadn't wanted me. She had wanted certainty. She had wanted a man who would always wait, always remain, always orbit her. But that man was gone. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't chaos. It was precise, like a scalpel. I left her sit in the hollow she had carved for herself, while I thrived in the space she thought would swallow me. Her family called. Her friends called. Some tried to shame me back into her world. I ignored them all, because real revenge isn't shouting. It's withdrawal. It's absence so total that the betrayer is forced to choke on the emptiness they created. The silence wasn't the end. A few weeks later, the divorce papers landed on her desk. She had believed I'd never go, that my pride was tethered to her scraps of affection. Instead, I left with quiet resolve, and with half of what she swore I'd never touch. Her desperation curdled into rage once she realized what I had taken from her. Not only money, but control, the story, the power. The woman who once told me to wait while she tested her options was suddenly scrambling for the one man who had finally refused to circle her anymore. I'll confess something. Watching her unravel was addictive, not because I hated her. Hate would mean she still mattered. It was addictive because it confirmed what I'd always known. She never deserved the version of me I gave her. I gave her loyalty. She gave me conditions. I gave her steadiness. She gave me ultimatums. I gave her love. She gave me an expiration date. So I gave her silence. Now, when her memory brushes against me, there is no sting, no anger, no longing, only nothing. And that nothing, that is the sharpest cut of all. She once told me never to move on. So I did the one thing she feared most. I moved on without her.